Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news update show. We've got some stuff coming in from Laurie Whitwell, FABRIZIO, ROMANO, who are two very, very reliable journalists. We've got some other news coming in from Spain, Romano, and all of that about De Jong. We've got some news on TORRES, Timber, NUNEZ, but mostly Frenkie De Jong, a little bit on Kante as well. And obviously Laurie Whitwell spoke about Kante, a very reliable journalist, confirming the interest. A player called Edson Alvarez is also highly rated by Ten Hag, and a lot of transfer news to get into. We're going to get right into the Frenkie de Jong news, and I'm sure you're aware that last night it came out basically that United had made an agreement with Barcelona over Frenkie de Jong. They'd agreed on a fee, and today, this morning, Laurie Whitwell said that United are negotiating on a deal for Frenkie de Jong with Barcelona. Now, what's going on with Frenkie de Jong to Barcelona? I'm pretty sure you've all read the news. United want De Jong, Ten Hag wants De Jong, Barca want to sell him, De Jong wants Champions League football. Whoa. Ten Hag's been reading up De Jong, like, change your mind, like, we're only going to be out the Champions League for one season, blah, 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 blah. I see this two ways. We're either begging Frenkie de Jong to come, and he's not going to come, or the fact that we've been told he wants Champions League football, but we're still negotiating for De Jong, makes me think De Jong's mind can be changed. Because if we weren't going to get De Jong, why would Laurie Whitwell come out today and say United are negotiating for Frenkie de Jong? When we knew a few days ago we'd agreed a fee with Barcelona, but he wanted Champions League football, and then a few days later, Laurie Whitwell says United are negotiating a fee for Frenkie de Jong. If we knew he wasn't going to join, why would we bother negotiating a fee with Barcelona for Frenkie de Jong? If he really wasn't going to join, why would we be spending our time negotiating this with Barcelona? There's got to be something that indicates he could join. There has to be something that could indicate he could join. And I'm going to get into the news and all of that. And I am quite confident on De Jong. Despite reports saying he doesn't want to join, he wants Champions League football and all that, I feel quite confident that we can make De Jong happen. And maybe it's because I want it to happen, so I've got this like delusional confidence. I don't know. I just feel a little bit confident. But quickly, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. Make sure you share the video. Bish, bash, bosh. I know I'm live at a really weird early time. That is literally because I'm getting a train right after this live stream. And I'm not going to be live tomorrow because I'm literally out all weekend. So I want to get into the transfer news and all of that. Barcelona want a big fee so they can get Darwin, NUNEZ, maybe, but I'd rather get De Jong and lose out on Darwin, NUNEZ. I think a lot of you guys would as well. Now, Mark Goldbridge tweeted today, I just saw about an hour ago, saying Ten Hag to De Jong, like, because obviously we know Ten Hag's had conversations with De Jong and all of that. We don't know what Ten Hag said to De Jong, but Mark Goldbridge said something that was quite good. He said, if he was probably imagining what Ten Hag's conversation to De Jong was. And Goldbridge says, come to United where you'll be the catalyst in a new era. You'll be loved by the fans and in the best league in the world. If you stay at Barcelona, where the club that's trying to sell you, what's the point? Or go to Bayern or PSG and play in the league where the title was won by August. And, this is something Goldbridge said on Twitter, and I feel like that's what Ten Hag probably did say to De Jong. If you go to Bayern or PSG, that's just boring. They're just, the league's won by August. You're never going to be anyone special. If you go to United, it's a bigger club, best league in the world. If you do something good at United, you go down as a special player. And a lot more people watch the Premier than the Bundesliga and League One. It's just a bit dead, isn't it? And then, if you stay at Barcelona, well, you're just staying at a club that's not wanted. So you're just staying there and they don't want you to be there. And I think Xavi would like De Jong to stay, but, that's the way I look at it. And looking in all the news and all of that, and I'm going to get into what Laurie Whitwell said, I think with De Jong, there's something happening because I think the news is a little bit behind on Frenkie de Jong. I think if United were really sure Frenkie de Jong wasn't going to come, they wouldn't be negotiating a fee. Man United are fucking idiots in the transfer window. We all know that. We're stupid. We do so many stupid things. But one thing we do in the transfer window is be slow. We normally agree terms with a player and then go in and do the fee and all of that. United have never, ever once, in my lifetime that I can remember, they probably have, but just never, ever once recently that I can remember, agreed on a fee for a player, but then not got the player. It's normally we get the player and then we don't pay the money. We're doing the money bit first. We're doing the Barcelona bit first, and then we're going to the player. Now, why would United waste all their time and effort trying to negotiate a price with Barcelona, which we know they're doing, because Laurie Whitwell, the Athletic tier 1 source of information, best out there, Laurie Whitwell, David Ornstein, honestly, they are better than Romano at the moment. Why would they say we're negotiating a fee for Frenkie de Jong with Barcelona? Because we are. So if United didn't think they were going to get Frenkie de Jong. They wouldn't be wasting their time negotiating a fee. So despite reports that de Jong wants UCL football, part of me believes, and I could be wrong, he can be convinced. And I think he can be convinced. Ten Hag, he will be the main man. He's a guaranteed starter. He'll get the same wages. He'll be in a better league. He'll be with a manager that likes him, a system that likes him. And, you know, Real Madrid's the only club bigger than Barcelona out there, but Man United is equally as big of a club. You know, Man United is the third biggest club in the world. We might not be the third best club in the world. We might not even be in the top 10 best clubs in the world. But there's a project. It's something exciting. And to be fair, if you're a footballer and you get told that you go to PSG for 3 years and you win 3 league titles, or you go to Manchester United and you for 3 years and you bring them their first league title in over 10 years, what is a better achievement? Winning 3 league titles with PSG, or in 3 years' time, winning Man United's first league title in over 10 years. Of course, winning Man United's first league title in over 10 years, best league in the world. So maybe we've got to sell him that project. Now, I do want to get into the news and all of that, because I'm just giving my thoughts. I actually do want to get into what's been said and all of that, because there has been some news on Kante, there's some news on NUNEZ, that there's a lot of stuff going on, and I will get into the live chat. But let's go for 250 likes, so smash that like button as well. People just listening while I blabber on. And de Jong wants to go to City. No, apparently Man City are not in the race for Frenkie de Jong, reportedly. That's come out. And money talks all the time. Like, we weren't in the UCL when we got Pogba. Anything can happen at Manchester United. And that's a really good comment by Mr. Randomizer. And I was actually going to say, we got Zlatan and we got Pogba when we weren't in the Champions League. We are capable of getting de Jong, even if we're not in the Champions League as well. And Frenkie de Jong would definitely work in Ten Hag's system, given his history at Ajax. And Ten Hag was the first manager that really gave Frenkie de Jong that game time and all of that. Now, Laurie Whitwell has come out with some stuff. Now, Laurie Whitwell, The Athletic, highly recommend checking out The Athletic. It's a payroll article, but because the thing about The Athletic is, and the thing I like about The Athletic is, because you pay for it, you know what you get isn't, stories being made up for clicks. It's legit, because they already have the money coming in, so all their stories are legit. It's right. And The Athletic, David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, brilliant journalist. And Laurie Whitwell's come out with a few things today, and I'd highly recommend checking out his article or following on Twitter and finding the article, because he is the guy for transfers. I like Romano, but right now Ornstein and Laurie Whitwell, the transfer news, are on it. And Laurie Whitwell, who's a tier 1 journalist, said Erik ten Hag has pressed for Manchester United to explore signing Frenkie de Jong. So he's confirmed again that we're interested in Frenkie de Jong. We know that. He said a move for N'Golo Kante is also being considered. So Laurie Whitwell is actually confirming that we are considering a move potentially for N'Golo Kante. I will talk and give my thoughts on that in a minute. And Edson Alvarez is also another player highly rated by Manchester United. Now, I'm not too familiar with Edson Alvarez. He's a Mexican football player. I believe he's a midfielder. I believe he's a CDM, and I know he's at Ajax. Don't know much about him, but he's an Ajax player, but he's a player being considered for DM. I've always said this with players that United are linked to. If I'm being told that Ten Hag wants this player and I've never heard of this player, I don't care. Get that player. If Ten Hag wanted bloody Susan Boyle to play CDM, I'd say United go sign Susan Boyle, because my thoughts on transfers right now and my thoughts on what Man United should do is, if Ten Hag wants that player, you get them. If it's a player Ten Hag wants, you get them. If it's a player the board want, fuck off. Get the player Ten Hag wants. All right. And it seems that de Jong is obviously that, and United are going to back him and go for de Jong, and hopefully de Jong will join. Now, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, that Barcelona need to get rid of de Jong by June 1st. And then I also heard it was June 11th. So it's either mid-June or beginning of June they need to get rid of de Jong. So if it's beginning of June, they've got 3 days to get rid of Frenkie de Jong, which would say to me something could happen massive in the next 3 days between de Jong to United. And of course, it's going to be the weekend that I'm away. I'm busy. I can't go live tonight and tomorrow night because I'm busy. Of course, we're going to fucking sign him, aren't we? We just are. I'll be happy still. No, I'm joking. But I think something could happen in these next 3 days for Frenkie de Jong, because I did hear somewhere it had to be done by the beginning of June. We've got 3 days left of May. I think we could get some juicy story on Frenkie de Jong very soon. So we'll have to wait and see. Back into the Laurie Whitwell story. And this is the story I like. This is a story you guys are going to like. This is a story you guys are going to be interested in. This is a very, very good story. Okay. Laurie Whitwell has said Erik ten Hag's priority in the transfer market is to sort Manchester United's midfield first before moving on to other positions. Bish, bash, bosh. From the source's mouth, Laurie Whitwell, tier 1 journalist, saying sort the midfield first. Yes, Ten Hag knows. Sort the freaking midfield. I have fears that we're going to sign one midfielder and we're going to see McTominay and some other midfielder we sign in the midfield next season. Ten Hag wants to sort the midfield before anything, and that is what we need to do, because this board are idiots. When we desperately needed a CDM, they spent 90 million on Donny van der Beek, Pelestri, and Amad Diallo, all of them out on fucking loan. We could have signed a CDM and prepared for Matic's departure earlier, but we didn't. Now, Laurie Whitwell says Ten Hag's priority is to address the Man United midfield, sort the midfield out first before going to other positions. Laurie Whitwell also said Ten Hag does not wish to commit funds on a striker and a centre-back until the heart of the midfield is sorted. And Laurie Whitwell also said that Manchester United head into the summer window prioritising a central midfield with 2 additions being on the agenda. Following the arrival of Erik Ten Hag, De Jong has been pushed to the forefront. So Laurie Whitwell, really, really good journalist, as I've said. You probably think I'm a Laurie Whitwell promo, but I'm just stressing he's a freaking good journalist. But Laurie Whitwell said Ten Hag wants a midfielder before anything, and ideally 2 midfielders. Brilliant, because Frenkie de Jong can replace Pogba, even though they're not like for like. Frenkie de Jong replaces Pogba, then you get a Matic replacement in. And this fills me with confidence, because when, you know, a Laurie Whitwell comes out of an article like this, I'm like, yes, midfield is a priority, because we can't get, if we sign Frenkie de Jong, cool, but if we pair Frenkie de Jong with McTominay, it's just going to drag Frenkie de Jong down. We need 2 midfielders. We do. Obviously, Donny's back. Obviously, Garner's back. Obviously, maybe give Mejbri a go. But, you know, right now, because Matic and Pogba have left, it's Fred and Bruno. Now, we've seen Fred and Bruno this season. Shite. You know, shite. Now, I think Fred's a good player. I think Bruno's a good player. And I don't mind McTominay as a bench player, but I don't think he's anywhere good enough to be at Man United starting player week in, week out. I think he's playing way too many minutes. I think he's a young player. I think if he either becomes really good under Ten Hag with some proper coaching, because every single manager that's come to United has seen something in McTominay, or McTominay will be out in 2 years and he's just another Fellaini, but we all knew he was shit, but it took years to get rid of him. But Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders. Now, obviously, Frenkie de Jong is one, and I am going to get into the Frenkie de Jong news, because I haven't even read out half the Frenkie de Jong news, because I've absolutely been blabbing off as well. And I will look at the live chat in just a second. I do apologise as well for missing out the live chat, but I've just got a lot to get into before we address the chat. But so Man United want to get 2 midfielders. De Jong, CDM, which has reportedly been Kante, and also reports to Neves, which we'll get into. And then I think they will look at Timber, and then I think they'll look at Darwin Nunez. We know right now United have held talks with Frenkie de Jong. We know we've held talks with Jurrien Timber. We know we've held talks with Nunez. We know we've held talks with Pau Torres. And reportedly, I don't know if this isn't proved, but we know that Nkunku and Antony have had talks according to reports. But we know the 4 players that have had talks are Nunez, Pau Torres, Timber, and De Jong. And De Jong is the priority transfer. And if our first signing could be De Jong, like Man United's first transfer signing could be Frenkie de Jong, and it could be very, very soon, because obviously the situation going on, Barcelona will need to sell Frenkie de Jong by like this week, next week, something like that. It's either beginning of June or mid-June, because every different fucking journalist is given a new deadline of when de Jong needs to be sold for Barcelona to balance their books and register this player and this player, and they also want Lewandowski and all of that as well. So De Jong, midfielder, then we move on to, I don't know, Timber, then we move on to Nunez, then we see how much money we've got left, and then we go how much money we've got left over, then we go for a fullback. I think we'll get 5 signings. I think we'll get 2 midfielders, a striker and a centre-back, and I think maybe even a right-back. I think we need a fullback. I think Malachi, who is linked to us, I think is now going to Lyon, which I think is a bit of a miss, because I do not want to see Tellez playing left-back next season. I'd rather see Alvaro Fernandez. I think he is shite. Back on to another report that Laurie Whitwell has said. Laurie Whitwell said that Ten Hag has major admiration for Jurrien Timber, and Manchester United are aware of what it would take to sign Timber, and that United have also scouted Pau Torres. So again, Laurie Whitwell confirming the Timber and Pau Torres interest. And then the big thing that Laurie Whitwell said is there's not an exact budget or limit, but probably £120 million spend depending on how deals are structured. So I think United this summer, it's been reported, will have a net spend of around £120 million as well. De Jong, 85% sure. I'm 80% on De Jong. I think that we can convince De Jong to come. I think that Barcelona want to get rid of him. You know, I think, you know, all it is with De Jong to United is if we can convince De Jong to join Man United, we'll join Man United. All it takes is Man United just need to find a way to convince Frenkie de Jong to come. And I think the fact that we are actually pursuing and negotiating a deal for Frenkie de Jong, the fact that we're working so hard on a deal for Frenkie de Jong right now, says to me United are probably confident that they can get a deal done. Because why would we be wasting all this time? Why would we be wasting all this time trying to get a deal for Frenkie de Jong if he's not going to come? Like, it's reported that he's not going to come, but we're still wasting all this time trying to get a deal done for him. So I think United are confident that they can obviously convince De Jong to come. And I've always said United want De Jong, Barcelona want to get rid of De Jong, United work on a deal for De Jong. I think Ten Hag believes that he will convince De Jong to come. I think De Jong mind could be changed. I think Ten Hag can sell the project to De Jong, and I think De Jong could be done within the next week. I have some deluded confidence. I'm not a journalist. I don't know anything that you guys don't know. I just think I'm looking at this from two perspectives, but either wasting our time on De Jong and he's going to go to a PSG or a Bayern, or we're going to get De Jong. And obviously United is serious for De Jong. Laurie Whitwell said Manchester United are negotiating a fee for Frenkie De Jong with Barcelona. So there's definitely something going on as well. We've got over 465 people watching, guys, so please do smash that like button. I want to hit 400 likes by the end of the live stream. So if you've not hit that like button, please do. Timber will turn into a right plank. I heard a story that Man United want both Timber and Pau Torres and would use Timber as a right back in the first season and Pau Torres as a centre back in the first season. I think purely we should be buying Timber to play centre back, and then if something happens to our right back, he fills in there. But apparently Timber would almost be our full back and Pau Torres would be our centre back, because we know United want a full back, a centre back, two midfielders and a striker. And it's actually been reported that NUNEZ, De Jong, a CDM, which could be Lema, could be Neves, could be even Kante, could be one of those. Torres and Timber seem to be United's sort of transfer fan, and been said United will offer cash and Martial to Benfica for NUNEZ. I will get into that story in just a second. Barcelona will not sell De Jong to another Champions League team. I think they will. Barcelona desperately need the money, but I think Barcelona would much rather sell De Jong to someone like Manchester United as well. And I think, with Ten Hag, I think that is our strong point of trying to convince De Jong to come. So, what is the De Jong news? Because I am actually like 15 minutes into this live stream and I barely got into the De Jong news. Man United are negotiating for Frenkie De Jong with Barcelona. Laurie Whitwell said that. It's also come out from a very reliable Spanish source, Oriol de Monche. Probably not how you say his name, but he is a good source. He's a good source. He's a good journalist. He said there is an agreement between Barca and United for the fee of De Jong. So Man United have agreed with Barcelona a fee for Frenkie De Jong. So this is why I just think surely we're going to get him. Now, I don't know if we're going to get him. I'm not saying we're going to get him. But this is why I'm confident we're going to get De Jong, because it's been reported from reliable journalists that we've agreed a fee with Barcelona for De Jong. And I've always said this. I know I keep repeating ourselves. But if we knew a player was going to reject us, why would we spend all that time and effort agreeing a fee with the club? Because 90% of the time when a player falls through, when Man United try and sign a player and it falls through, 90% of the time it's we've agreed with the player, we haven't agreed with the club. We've agreed with the club. Whenever we have a failed transfer deal, it's because we agree with the player and not the club. We've agreed with the club and not the player. Now, Man United never agree with the club until they've basically got the player. Now, I know there's reports saying De Jong won't come because we're in the Champions League, or De Jong's going to take some convincing to come. But United must believe De Jong are going to come to go and put the effort in and agree a price with Barcelona. We've obviously got serious interest in De Jong. Barcelona obviously want to sell, and we obviously think that he can be convinced. What's come out is that basically Man United and Barcelona have agreed I can't talk today. Basically, if you just tuned in, Manchester United and Barcelona have agreed a fee for Frenkie De Jong, but apparently he said no due to no Champions League football. It also came out that De Jong was unwilling to listen to offers due to the lack of UCL football. During calls, the project was explained, and little by little, De Jong took a closer look at the operation. So the way I look at it is, at first, De Jong was like, no, you're not in the Champions League. But as time's gone on, we know Ten Hag's had multiple phone calls with De Jong. I think the news is more like when Man United initially inquired about De Jong, he said no because of no Champions League. But as time has gone on and Barcelona have had more and more pressure to sell De Jong, as United have shown more and more interest, as Ten Hag's probably spoken to De Jong, told him about the project, I think as time's gone on, maybe De Jong is now more open to the idea of joining United. And I think, I think the situation is De Jong said no at first. And then I think now Ten Hag's had more and more conversations with De Jong saying, look, you're going to be part of a project. You're going to be a first team starter. You're going to be a hero. Selling the project, saying you're not wanted at Barca. PSG's boring. Bayern's boring. Come to United. I think the more and more conversations Ten Hag's have with De Jong, telling him about the idea, the plans, and the more and more De Jong's realised he's not wanted at Barcelona and they've got to get rid of him. I think De Jong is slowly could be changing his mind. I think the report that De Jong said no because of no Champions League football is a report that's late. I think, De Jong probably said no originally because there was no Champions League football, but I think Ten Hag and De Jong have had more and more conversations, and De Jong now appeals more open to it. And I think, as time's gone on, United are now really pursuing. We know United have wanted De Jong for a while, but why is it only coming out now that we've agreed a fee with Barcelona? Going back to what I said earlier, why would we agree a fee to sign a player if we knew the player wasn't going to come? Why would we spend all that time and energy negotiating with Barcelona for De Jong just for De Jong to turn us down. Normally, we basically 9 times out of 10, we always agreed personal terms first. Sancho and Bruno, we agreed personal terms with them. We didn't sign them originally when we wanted them because it fell through with the club. We couldn't agree on a fee with the club. We've done the main bit. Agree on a fee with the club is convincing De Jong to come. And it seems, reports coming out of Spain that De Jong is more likely to join now. At first, De Jong said no, but now De Jong's spoken to Ten Hag. He's looking at it more. He's more open to the idea as well, if I'm being honest with you as well. The next story obviously came out from, Oriol de Monche, saying that Ten Hag's response to De Jong's UCL worry was that, and apparently Ten Hag said this to De Jong, don't worry, we will only be out of the Champions League a year, and that Ten Hag feels very capable of returning Manchester United to the highest level of the competition. And apparently Ten Hag believes that we will be in the top 4 this time next year. And I hope we're in the top 4 this time next year. We were second last year. I don't think we're actually that far behind Arsenal and Spurs. I actually think we've got a better team than them. We've just got a load of bratty players. And it's been reported that Ten Hag's basically said to the players and said to De Jong, yeah, we're going to be out of the Champions League for 1 season, but we're not going to be out for 5 seasons like Arsenal. Don't worry, it's 1 year out. He's already had 1 year out of Barca. I'm sure he could do another year out with United. Barcelona want 80 million euros for FRENKIE de Jong, and that was reported by Romano, which is £68 million. And Sam Peel just said this morning that Manchester United are increasingly confident they can do a deal. They can do a deal with Barcelona for FRENKIE de Jong. They will need to convince the player, and they have hope of being reunited with Ten Hag, who made him a star. Again, more reports coming out that saying United believe they can do the deal. Sam Peel just said, as I said, we've agreed a fee with Barcelona. We're working on a deal with Barcelona. Sam Peel just said United are confident they can get this deal done. They're confident they can convince De Jong to join. So although De Jong wasn't willing to join at first because of lack of UCL, it seems Man United feel like they can convince De Jong to join as well. We know from Oriol, again, that Manchester United and Barcelona are in talks over FRENKIE de Jong and are looking forward to reaching an agreement. Man United, Barcelona literally in talks with De Jong, about to reach an agreement. Everything depends on what the player wants to do. At this moment, he's closer to staying. That is the only negative. That's the only negative that came out. United and Barcelona in a deal, close to reaching agreement. A fee has been agreed and all of that. All that needs to be done is De Jong to say he wants to join United. De Jong wants to stay, but he's not wanted. So it's a weird one. It's literally, we're just waiting for De Jong to choose to join United or not. And I think De Jong does want to stay, but obviously he can't stay really. And again, he said that transfer fee between the clubs have been agreed. Now, we know that Oriol and Romano are both reliable, but when you think about it, they don't know everything. These journalists don't know what the phone call was between Ten Hag and De Jong. So they're saying again, De Jong, Barcelona and Man United have agreed on De Jong, but De Jong wants to stay. That's very basic journalism. But they don't know what Ten Hag said to De Jong. They know that Ten Hag's called De Jong 3, 4, 5 times, but they don't know. And obviously, Laurie Whitwell said that Man United are negotiating a fee with Barcelona for De Jong. And for me, and United faithful said this on Twitter, the fact that Laurie Whitwell said United are negotiating a fee with Barcelona said that's enough to know the deal will likely happen. And as going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, if we were negotiating a fee with Barcelona for De Jong, surely the deal is likely to happen. And maybe Man United are just not letting journalists know that De Jong wants to come, or De Jong's agreed to come, or what's going on in the conversations between De Jong and Ten Hag, because United want to keep things quieter from social media. Now, again, it's one of two things. De Jong wants to stay, he won't come, or we're slowly convincing De Jong to come and he's going to accept. United Muppeteers said that per Oriol, United have agreed a fee with Barcelona for FRENKIE de Jong. It's also said that De Jong said no initially to joining Man United, which I mentioned that on Monday. Obviously, United Muppeteers mentioned that on Monday. But clearly, United haven't given up. So again, I know I'm repeating myself, but De Jong initially said no to United, but United haven't given up on De Jong because maybe they believe that something is going to happen as well. I am going to get into the live chat in just a second, guys. I do apologise. I've got 3 more stories on De Jong to get through. Again, De Jong, £68 million. Barcelona have to sell due to the financial situation. It came out from MC Torres that FC Barcelona are hoping that De Jong will agree to leave the club. He wants to stay, but his departure would be economically significant. Again, De Jong wants to stay, but Barcelona, I believe, are pushing De Jong to leave. And this is a new story that's come out. De Jong wants to stay. Barcelona are pushing De Jong to leave, and Erik ten Hag's pushing De Jong to join. De Jong's basically being forced out of the club, and he's got to join United, PSG, or Bayern. And Erik ten Hag has just got to sell them the United project and make it more convincing than the PSG and Bayern project, which I think he can do. Because PSG, Bayern, it's fucking boring. They've already won the league. It's a boring league. It's a farmers' league. Mark Ogden of ESPN said that Manchester United spoke about the Man United De Jong saga, and he said that he's told if Barcelona get an offer of 80 million euros, they will sell, and Man United can afford that. Again, the issue is convincing the player. And then again, as I said, if you look at the whole De Jong situation, what's interesting about it is we're negotiating a fee for the player. Why would the club negotiate a fee for the player if he's not interested in joining United? And it's either United being an idiot trying to get a deal done for a player that doesn't want to join, or United know he's going to join and that's why they're negotiating a fee. Someone said De Jong watch Champions League football, he's not coming. Well, that could be the case. But again, as I said, the point of this video is, why are United currently negotiating a fee for De Jong and wasting their time if he doesn't want to come? The report saying he doesn't want to come, but why would we be progressing that? Either we're idiots, which we know we are, to be fair, in the transfer market, or, we think something's going to happen. We think he can join as well. Am I doing a watch long? No, I'm out tonight. And if a fee is agreed, then Ten Hag should tell De Jong you have 5 days, you're either in or out, plus he wants a higher wage for no UCL football. Yeah, I think that's a safe thing to do. I think we should say to De Jong, 1 more week to decide. And why negotiate a fee with the club when the player doesn't want to come? Doesn't make sense. Exactly, it doesn't make sense, which makes me think surely United are convinced that he could come as well. And obviously Lingard to West Ham looks likely, as Daniel was mentioned in the chat as well. And Man City, Man United, Liverpool and Spurs to make top 4 next season in that order. Do you think Chelsea will miss out because of the new owner situation as well? Guys, any questions, do put them in the live chat. I've got lots to get to in today's show as well. Ten Hag is trying to convince De Jong. He's trying his best to convince De Jong, exactly. But yeah, I'm going to get into the next story, but any comments, put them down below. Smash a like as well. United know he will come. No Ed Woodward wasting time anymore. This is the thing as well. There's no Ed Woodward. There's no Matt Judge on the board. And I feel like John Murtough, we need to take him a bit seriously. I feel like John Murtough is desperate to prove a point. John Murtough wants to impress Ten Hag, wants to get business done early. I think John Murtough is working on the De Jong deal because he believes it will happen. I think if John Murtough knew De Jong was going to say no, I don't think John Murtough would be wasting his time agreeing a fee with Barcelona. I really, really don't. And, all the reliable journalists are saying that, United are working on this deal. So United have got some kind of confidence that it's going to happen. Or John Murtaugh's an idiot and is just wasting his time. It's one of the two things. What we do know, and we know this is 100% true, we know this is confirmed, is that Manchester United obviously want to get their transfer business done early. Erik ten Hag really wants to get his business done by, July. Really end of June. They come back 27th of June, a month's time. Erik ten Hag basically wants all his business done in the next month so he can take everyone on pre-season tour. Now, obviously, we know from Laurie Whitwell that Ten Hag's priority is a midfield, and I think Ten Hag will want to sign 2 midfielders. Then he'll look at Timber, then he'll look at NUNEZ, who United are obviously confirmed to be interested in. But it's very clear United are working hard to hopefully get a midfielder, and Ten Hag wants all his deals done within the next 5 weeks. So I think we're in a position where we really need to keep an eye on the transfer news. We really need to watch the transfer news at the moment, because I think, the situation is, we're hearing stuff about Torres, Timber, NUNEZ and De Jong. We're hearing stuff about it, but it's kind of quiet. I think we're in the De Jong stuff isn't quiet today. I think we're in a situation where generally we'll sign 3 or 4 players in the space of 3 weeks. I generally think everything's going to be quiet, and then we're just going to get, here we go De Jong, here we go for Timber, here we go for, I don't know, Kante, who I'm going to get into in a minute, just out of nowhere. I generally believe that, and from the sounds of things, and Romano said United are working really hard internally. United aren't working on 1 deal at a time like they used to. United are working on 3 or 4 deals behind the scenes. They're just trying not to leak it to the social media. They're trying not to make their transfer deals as public as normal. I think United are working on NUNEZ, De Jong, Timber, Torres, Kante. I don't know. United are probably doing inquiries and working on some of these deals right now as we speak, that I think, although, Ten Hag wants 5 players in by July, I think it's definitely possible. So what I was going to say is, please do subscribe if you're not subscribed, because if there's any transfer news update, if there's any updates, I will be live to let you know. The minute we put a bid in, if De Jong agrees to join, there will literally be a live stream saying De Jong agrees to join, because then the deal is basically done. The minute we buy a player, the minute we sell a player, the minute we agree personal terms with a player, the minute we put a bid in, the minute a deal is agreed, the minute we get, here we go, I'll be live to let you guys know. I'm sure there's going to be 3 or 4 players joining United in the next month. I think that is the plan. Get them in by July, get them in by pre-season. I think we'll have 3 or 4 signings in the next month. So do make sure you're subscribed if you're not subscribed to the channel, because I will be keeping you up to date with all the incomings, outgoings, and all the latest news on the potential incoming, so you don't miss anything as well. And smash that like button. Hawks on Ziyech, I know Ten Hag likes him. I wouldn't mind Ziyech on a season-long loan to play right wing, but he's nearly 30. He's got a bit of an injury record. I wouldn't mind him for a season or two on the short term, but I think long term he won't be in the project. As Romano said, this will be Manchester United's most aggressive transfer window in years, United over any club in years. Yeah, this is reportedly going to be Manchester United's busiest and most aggressive transfer window in years. I think we're going to be working on multiple deals. I think we're planning on signing multiple players. I think we're planning on selling multiple players. I think, although it's quiet right now on Timber, Pau Torres and Nunez, obviously it's not 100% quiet. I think generally deals are just going to come out of nowhere. I think we're going to do what Villa do, and some deals are just going to come out of nowhere because United clearly want to get stuff done as well. Players that will leave / have to leave: Cavani, Pogba, Lingard, Martial, Jones, Matic, Mata, Bayo, Wan-Bissaka and Telles. So I agree. They are the reported players that will leave. Cavani's leaving, Mata's leaving, Matic is leaving, Pogba's leaving, Lingard's leaving. They're 5 players leaving confirmed. But also we know that Wan-Bissaka's not wanted, Bayo's not wanted, Jones is not wanted, Martial's not wanted, and Telles is not wanted, and Tuanzebe's future is pretty unsure, and Pereira's future is pretty unsure. That should have really been sold last summer. We couldn't get sales for them as well. What a great signing this would be if it goes through, and I think we need a young, experienced centre forward as well as a centre back. I agree, we need 2 midfielders, a striker, a centre back, and a full back this summer, and even a right winger, but I don't think we can get them all. That's what I think. Frenkie de Jong did not want to join Man United initially. Isn't this the same situation we had with Dybala a few years back? Players not interested in joining us. Yes and no. The only thing is, de Jong is basically being forced out of Barcelona. Dybala had the option to stay. De Jong is kind of being forced out of Barcelona, so he kind of has to leave. And de Jong's got to choose between United, Barca, PSG. If de Jong could stay at Barcelona, he would, but de Jong knows he can't stay. And that's where, even if he wants UCL football, United could be more of a convincing project than PSG and Bayern Munich because they're boring leaves and all of that. Alice, it's going to be a long rebuild for you lot, going to be trash for a while longer. I agree. Look, for me, and I've always said this on Ten Hag, I don't trust these players. We can't get rid of all the bad players. We can't get rid of all the deadwood in one window. I think it's going to be a long transfer window. I think not a long transfer window. I think it's going to be a long season next season. Next season, if we don't get top 4, if we don't win a trophy, I don't want to see fans turning on Ten Hag. This is a rebuild. This is completely changing the style of play, the culture of the club. There's going to be 10 players going this summer, maybe 10 players going next summer. There's going to be 2 summers where we maybe get 5 players in. This summer the goal is to get back in the top 4. It's not to win a title, it's to get back in the top 4. For me, a good season would be scraping 4th next year, which, standards of this club, it's dropped like that. Yes, I know. But a good season will be scraping 4th next summer because we need top 4 to push on in the project. Now, I think, Jurgen Klopp didn't get top 4 in his first season at Liverpool. Pep only got top 4 on goal difference. I'm not saying that Ten Hag is going to get top 4 because look how good Liverpool are. Look how good City are. Chelsea are a good team. Tottenham and Arsenal have got a convincing project as well. Villa up and coming. Newcastle up and coming. It's going to be very, very difficult for Ten Hag. Okay, and I think, I'm worried that, we might finish 6th next season. Everyone will be like, Ten Hag out. He's not better than Ralph. He's not better than Ollie. But it's the long-term project. We might finish 6th because Ten Hag's only got 4 of the 10 players he wants in. I think you have to give Ten Hag 3 summer transfer windows, 3 seasons. This might, we might have 2 seasons where we're meh. And then maybe in 3 years' time, we start challenging for a title, but we don't win the title for 4 years' time. You've got to look at Klopp and Liverpool. We're trying to recreate what Liverpool did with Klopp. It took a while, but then it paid off. It's going to take a while because we've got to change the culture of the club. We've got to change the player mentality. We've got to change the coaches. We've got to change the structure. We've got to change the players. There's a lot of players that need to go. There's a lot of players that are going to come in. You can't do it all in one window. It's going to take 2 to 3 windows. But you know what? It's rebuilding the club, getting back in the top 4, winning a trophy, getting back in the Champions League. And the overall goal is to challenge for the Premier League and actually be a side that gets to Champions League semi-finals. I don't want to see us getting knocked out in the round of 16. And I think that is the project for Ten Hag. That is the goal. That's what we want to be doing. And hopefully that is what we'll achieve as well. Guys, make sure you smash that like button if you have not already. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new as well. Pep got top 4 by 3 points first year. Man City got top 4 goal difference before Pep. Oh, was it Pellegrini? Oh, maybe we did. I got it mixed up then. Eventually, UCL and League. But I think the first season, it's not about winning a trophy. It's not about top 4. Literally, the first season for me is, yes, I want top 4. Yes, I want to win a trophy. But it's not about that. We're not judging Ten Hag off his first season. What I want to see in the first season is not top 4. It's not a trophy. Of course, I do want to see it. But what I want to see is us slowly adapting and playing a style. I want to see that I can see a future. I want to watch us next season and go, I can see what Ten Hag's trying to do. He's a few players away from doing that. I want to see improved style of football. I want to see improved play. I want to see patterns of play. I just want to see an overall improvement in the United squad and the way they play. Ten Hag's got to adapt to the league. These players have got to adapt to Ten Hag's style of football. You know, this is a big change for the Man United players, and I slate the players a lot, and I go in on them a lot because they deserve it. But I will say, I will give these players a little bit. And I will say this is a big change for the Man United players because under Ollie they were playing negative, boring football that didn't require them to run and press and work hard. United are now going to be playing a style of football where they've got to work harder. They've got to work as hard as City, work hard as Liverpool. And some of our players just don't have that work rate in them. And some of our players do, but they've had it so easy under Ollie that it's going to be a big change. And I think it's going to take more than a year for these players to adapt to Ten Hag's style of play. So I think the first season is Ten Hag's trying to implement the style of play. A lot of our players won't be able to do that. I know a lot of our players won't be able to do that, which is why Ten Hag could potentially struggle in his first season at Man United. But as Manchester United fans, we've got to give them the backing. All I want to see in the first season is towards the end of the first season, can I see progress and can I see what Ten Hag's trying to do? Can I see how Ten Hag's trying to play? Under Ollie, I could never really see how Ollie was trying to play. It was sit back, counter attack. Couldn't see Ollie's long-term vision. I couldn't see Ollie's project. But with Ten Hag, can I see Ten Hag's project? Can I see Ten Hag's goal? Can I see the way Ten Hag wants to play? And that's what we've really got to be looking at as well. Guys, please do smash that like button, and also obviously please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe to my channel. I go live every single evening, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more. The minute we sign a player, the minute we sell a player, the minute a player agrees to join, if Jong agrees to join, there will be a live stream. The minute we put a bid on a player, the minute there's agreement, confirmation, sale, signing, I will be live to update you guys. As I've always said, I think lots is going to happen in the next month at Manchester United. Ten Hag wants his signings in by July. Barcelona need to balance their books within the next few weeks for De Jong, which means that deal has to hurry up if it's going to happen. There's Timber, there's Torres, there's NUNEZ leaks. United are working on 4 deals at once behind the scenes, trying to get it done by July. I think a lot is going to happen in the next month. I think June's going to be our busiest month in the transfer window ever. Romano said this is going to be one of Man United's most hectic transfer windows. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not subscribed to stay up to date on all the latest news. But there's a little bit of a story coming out about Kante. Obviously, Laurie Whitwell's confirmed United are keeping an eye on Kante. It also came out from Jacob Steinberg that Manchester United are interested in signing N'Golo Kante from Chelsea. Kante's contract expires next year, and United are obviously desperate to strengthen their midfield after underperforming last season, and they're keen to find out whether he can be sold. He was also said that Kante's contract situation means that there's a decision for Man United to make. You know, we could get him for quite cheap, a suitable offer. And Ten Hag's also interested in De Jong and West Ham's Declan Rice. Now, with Kante, this is how I feel about Kante. We're replacing Matic with Matic, but 2 years younger. Kante's on his last legs. He's injured. He can't play week in, week out. That's been Matic for the last 3 years. We're literally replacing Matic with a slightly improved version of Matic, but after 2 seasons, will be leaving like Matic was because he's done. You know, Chelsea want to get rid of him because he's deadwood. He's a good player. And look, I don't mind Kante if he was coming on loan for 1 year. I think, you know what, we couldn't get a CDM because Rice is out of range. Calvin Phillips doesn't want to come. I don't mind Kante 1 year on loan. Kante, De Jong, Kante 1 year on loan. The next summer we spend big bucks on a CDM because we're in a situation where Rice is gone, Tchouaméni's gone, Kamara's gone, Phillips is unattainable. Neves, I don't know what's going on with that. There's not many CDMs out there that, you know, really we need a Rice, but, you know, we can't spend that much money on a CDM. We're in a situation where I would take De Jong and then Kante on a season-long loan, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Chelsea would do that. And then next summer go for an out-and-out CDM. But I just think with Kante, I think he's a good player. I wouldn't mind him here for 2 seasons, but he's a player that will be deadwood. He's a player that can't play week in, week out. He's got injury problems, big wages. He's a good player. But again, you know, he was Matic 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, we're saying Matic is a good player. He's one of our most important players. He just had a good end to the season in lockdown. But we know he can't play week in, week out. We know he can't play we know he's not reliable. And I think that's what you get with Kante. He's a good player. He just can't do it like he used to. And I just think I wouldn't mind Kante. I wouldn't be outraged by it. But I think, you know, we're doing a rebuild. The plan is to plan for 3 years. Kante's not going to be here in 3 years. Maybe he's that temporary player to get us back into top 4 next season if we can't get CDM. But my thoughts on Kante is I would only get him right at the end of the window if we couldn't get a CDM or we just needed a short-term fix till next summer to get a CDM. I think he's a good player. I think he's better than what we have. But I've seen a lot of people say that just because they're better than McTominay and Fred shouldn't be the benchmark. We want to be up there with City and Liverpool. Most midfielders are better than McTominay and Fred. We want to be buying midfielders because they're City and Liverpool level, not because they're better than Fred. And I think Kante's a brilliant midfielder, but he is past his best. I think we can all agree on that. Just taking a cheeky, quick swig of water there as well. Ten Hag will bench Bruno for Donny. That's a possibility. I think that if Bruno's poor, he will get benched. I think Bruno's new contract, Bruno's Bruno. He's been a very important player these last 2 years. I don't think Bruno will be, let's say, dropped, but I think if Bruno's poor, he'll get benched. Someone put a comment about Luke Shaw. Can I see Luke Shaw? Luke Shaw will be playing next season. Luke Shaw will be playing next season as well. I can tell you that without a doubt. Luke Shaw will be playing next season. He's our best left back, and I think we'll sign a fullback, but I think it will more likely be a right back because Wan-Bissaka's leading. Even I believe Ten Hag needs time, but I actually think people are underestimating Ten Hag now. Maybe we are, but maybe we've just got low expectations, low standards, because every season seems to be a disappointment at United as well. We've got players from 3 different managers. Give Ten Hag time to build his squad, and 3 or 4 transfer winners will be back to titles. I agree with that. I agree that if he gets the full backing, I do agree as well. And wait until the Champions League final over tonight. Transfer window will go nuts. I think soon. Yeah, I think this time tomorrow the transfer window is going nuts once the final is over as well. If Ten Hag's reunited with De Jong and Donny, I believe we could achieve top 4 next season. The thing is, top 4 is definitely achievable next season. We came second a year ago. I think, honestly, I just think we were a good. I think if we'd have signed Declan Rice this summer, we'd have got top 4. I really do. I think the midfield, Maguire was crap, everything was crap, but you know, we were just a crap midfield, and injuries and bad attitudes away. We have a squad good enough to get top 4. Our squad right now is still better than Tottenham and the Arsenal squad. It is. They're not playing better than Tottenham and Arsenal squad because they might be better players, but they don't have better personalities. They don't have better team character. They don't have better chemistry. They're stubborn, egos. You know, they can be these really good players individually, but if you don't play like a team, you know, look at England. Gerrard, Scholes, Terry, Rio, never achieved anything. Brilliant players, one of the best, better than our current England team, but achieved a lot less because they couldn't play together. Too many big egos, didn't get on. And that's the Man United squad. There's brilliant players in there, they just don't get on. And if you can get that Man United squad to work together, they're capable of getting top 4. They should have got top 4 this season. If they'd got on and got over their ego complex, you know, we would have got top 4 this season. You know, that's how I feel as well. Ajax 7, Dortmund 1, Ajax 9, Sporting 2. They were aggregate scores, weren't they? Europa could be the best chance. Europa League could be United's best chance to top 4. I really want us to win the Europa League. Kante is 31, 1 year left on his contract. You want to loan him? What are you saying? I don't mind Kante for 1 season, but I just think he's not in the long-term project. For all he's had a bad season, Bruno created the most chances out of any player in the league. He could have had a dozen more assists with better finishing. I agree. Bruno is not as bad as some other fans try and make out. Bruno's frustrating. He loses the ball. Bruno versus Arsenal was probably the worst performance I've seen all season. Bruno frustrates me. He loses the ball. Bruno carried us. Bruno's the reason we got top 4 the last 2 seasons, whether you like it or not. Bruno Fernandes has been United's best player for the first 18 months he joined, and he's dropped off in the last year. He's dropped off. He's not looked right. He's been crap this season. But Bruno ain't a bad player. Bruno's not been as crap as people have said. Bruno's not been nowhere near as bad as Maguire. Bruno's been nowhere near as bad as Rashford. Bruno's still created the most chances. He's still got decent numbers without taking penalties. He's just not on it at the moment. But he's not been that bad, Bruno Fernandes. He's been bad for Bruno's standards, but he's not been atrocious, okay? It just needs to calm it down with the spam balls, the hero balls. He's just a bit frustrating. But I agree that I don't think Bruno's been as bad as people try and make out he is as well. Ten Hag seems to have a proper style and philosophy. The other managers seem to just go with the flow, and Ten Hag is already making his presence known with the right signings. We can be a real force. I agree, and I hope that is the case moving forward as well. And are we keeping Martial? Martial wants to leave. I think Martial's gone. Martial just doesn't want to stay. But I like Martial, and I think he's a very technically gifted player. I think, you know, Martial's a player where I think he's got the talent, but not the mentality. Because when he's the main man, he's good. And then Cavani came in, he wasn't the main number 9, and he didn't be having to fight for his place. I think Martial's a confidence player, but also a bit of an ego player. He's got to know he's the main man. He doesn't like fighting for his place. He doesn't like knowing he won't be playing week in, week out. I think that's why Martial's been poor. And I don't like Martial's attitude of demanding to leave the club in January. I think we needed him. I think Martial is one of our most gifted players. I actually think he's one of our best players. I just don't think he's got the right attitude at times. If Martial said to Ten Hag, I want to stay, I want to prove myself, I want to be a good striker for Man United again, I'll be over the moon. I'll be happy. I go, you know what? I think Martial will be good under Ten Hag. Ten Hag made Haller look good. We know Martial got 17 non-penalty goals just 2 seasons ago. He's a good player. I'll be brilliant. I'll be over the moon. I'll be like, yes, keep Martial. But if Martial doesn't want to stay, you've got to sell him. And Martial doesn't want to stay, so you've got to sell him. You can't have someone in the club that doesn't want to be there. We've also got some news on Pau Torres to Man United. And Timber. We've also heard that, you know, Timber could be coming in as a right back and Pau Torres could be coming in as a centre back signing, which is an interesting one because we're interested in both Pau Torres and Timber. Laurie Whitwell also confirmed we're interested in Pau Torres and Timber. We also know that Darwin Núñez will be going to the Premier League, and Di Marzio did say that Darwin Núñez will be going to the Premier League. So it could be United, it could be Newcastle where Darwin Núñez goes. We also know that United are considering a deal for Darwin Núñez, trying to approach them with Martial plus cash, because Martial wants to leave. And then we also know that Man United have a centre-back lined up in Timber with a fee left to pay. So what we know about United and transfers so far is we like Darwin Núñez. He's our first choice striker option. Darwin Núñez will move to the Premier League. However, United, before they go and splash the cash on Darwin Núñez, want to get their midfield sorted. They want to get De Jong sorted. They want to get another midfielder in after De Jong ideally, and then they will look at Darwin Núñez. United already have a deal lined up for Timber, but I think they're holding off the Timber deal. They don't want to spend any money until they've got the midfield sorted. United are looking at Neves, looking at Kante, looking around at other players, but the only players we've held official talks with are Nunez, Timber, Pau Torres, and FRENKIE de Jong, and we know that. It's also said from Jordan Davis that Manchester United are on the verge of making a final push to sign Ruben Neves, but the fee would be about 50 million, which I think is a little bit overpriced. And also the European lad came out with a story through Freek Jensen saying the reports that Timber is close to joining Man United are not true, and that Timber, his agent's brother, are calm about the situation. The report coming out of the Netherlands saying Timber actually isn't as close as we think, which contradicts the other reports. And then here is an interesting report actually that I do want to get into. This is a weird story, guys. Basically, Luckhurst has said something about if United can't get a striker, Ten Hag's going to try Rashford at striker, and I just think no, I don't want to see Rashford at striker. He's a left winger. Even when Rashford was good 2 seasons ago, whenever he played striker, he was still crap. Rashford's good at left wing. He's not a striker. I want to say that now. I do not want to see Marcus Rashford as a striker. I want to see Marcus Rashford given a chance under Ten Hag, and hopefully Rashford can find his form back on the wing. But Rashford is a winger, not a striker, and I think we can all agree on that as well. Bayern are looking to buy the whole Ajax team. Literally, Bayern and Man United are looking to buy Ajax at the moment. We have competition for Timber with Bayern. I think we can get Timber because of Ten Hag and more game time promise, but Bayern want Timber, and Bayern have got Gravenbach, who's just a fucking brilliant player. I kind of wish we got him as well. And Diego says, I reckon Erik Ten Hag will change the mentality of your players. Their personal performances will improve in training and on match days. And I agree with you, Diego. That's a really good comment. I think that's what Ten Hag is hopefully coming in to do, change the player mentality and all of that. What about Nkunku? United want Nkunku. United have registered interest in Nkunku. We spoke to Nkunku. Ragnick's told United to get Nkunku. Leipzig won't sell. That is what's going on with Nkunku as well. I'm yelling Timber, says the UK part. Honestly, if we get Timber, the chance we could do would be amazing. Antony's a better right wing than Sig. I agree. I just think he will cost more and be harder to get because Ajax won't be able to find a replacement. No chance United will get Rice. Yeah, look, we're not getting Rice. I can tell you that. We're not getting Rice. We're not getting Kane. They're just not the deals we'll be doing. We don't want to be spending more than 60 million on a player. I think De Jong will be our big signing. I think De Jong will be our big 60 million pound signing. And I think all our other signings will be 30, 40 million max because we need to sign about 5 players. I think we could even get maybe a 15 million pound cheap fullback in from the Bundesliga that we don't know, or the Eredivisie that we don't know. Rashford isn't really a winger or a striker. He's an astronaut. Rashford's a bit of an inside forward. He's a bit of a Salah. I'm not comparing Rashford to Salah. Salah's better, but where he's not really a winger, but he's not a striker. He's like a wide forward, isn't he? Another chance for Rashford. Look, Rashford's been awful this season, but we can't sell him because we can't replace him. You know, we've got 5 players that we already need to sign, 10 players already leaving. That we need Rashford for squad depth. And if Rashford is shit under 10 Hag next season, you sell him this time next year. But, you know, with Rashford, he was brilliant a year and a half ago. It was brilliant 2 seasons ago. We just needed to find that form back. You know, McTominay I would sell, but actually I wouldn't sell McTominay. I'd keep him as a bench player because we don't have the depth to sell McTominay. Players that have been crap like McTominay, I've always said this, players that have been crap this season, like McTominay, Rashford, and Maguire, if it was FIFA, we could sell them. But, you know, it's not FIFA. You can't sell 20 players and buy 20 players in one transfer window. It's just impossible. So as much as, you know, you want Maguire, McTominay and Rashford out because they've been crap this season, a lot of people do, you just got to keep them. And you keep them, but if they're poor, they don't play. You just keep them for squad depth because Bailly and Jones are going. So if you sell Maguire on top of Bailly and Jones, and Tuanzebe's also going, you only centre-backs at the club are Varane and Lindelof. And if they get injured, you're fucked. You've got no one to play centre-back. What, Mengi? You don't know about them yet. You know, maybe we sign 1 centre-back, but, you know, you need at least 4 centre-backs at the club. You know, Rashford, I know he's barely playing at the moment, but, you know, if he finds form, Rashford's better than Elanga. If he finds form, he is. just can't find form. If Sancho gets injured, they need Rashford. You know, again, McTominay's been crap this season, but McTominay has the right personality. Now, McTominay, I don't think will ever be good enough to start week in, week out for United. He's a bench player. But with McTominay, you're not getting a player that's moaning, causing a fuss every single week. He's a player that can be on the bench, do a job in the cup games, do a job here and there, but I don't want him as a week in, week out starter. There are players at Man United that are causing problems. There's players at Man United that are the reason the squad's falling apart. Ego, dressing room problems, putting on the shirt and not trying. And as crap as McTominay's been, as crap as Maguire's been this season, they're not faking injuries. When they put on the shirt, they try, they put the effort in, they work hard. As crap as they've been this season, they've done the bare minimum. Okay, they've done the absolute bare minimum a footballer should be doing. And a lot of our squad haven't even done the bare minimum. So as crap as they've been this season, they're not causing dressing room issues. So it's like, right, they're not causing dressing room issues. We've got 10 other players to sell. We can't sell 20 players. It's not FIFA. So they've got to stay for a little bit. And people don't understand that, but it is. Rashford's been out of form for 2 seasons. I agree he's been out of form for a season and a half. I just don't think we can sell him. You know, it's not that. I do like Rashford. I believe there's a good player in Rashford. And I believe this time next year, if he's poor, I will be saying sell him. But because I do really like Rashford. But I think United have got to think about maybe selling him next season if he's poor. I just don't think we'll be able to sell him. Someone said get De Jong, Timber, and Dika, Spence, Martial, Lema, Ericsson. I agree. I'd like to see something like that. But again, it's, you know, I agree with some of those as well. Rashi once said his favourite manager was Van Gaal and he was coached under him. Guess Erik ten Hag, he will feel better. Yeah, maybe Ten Hag's got a good Van Gaal link as well. Look, what I want Ten Hag to do is, because I know Bruno, if we sold Bruno after 6 bad months, it would be stupid. Like, Bruno has been one of our best players. Bruno, Maguire, McTominay and Rashford have been poor this season, okay? And I've never believed that McTominay's been United standard, and I don't really think Maguire's United standard either. But if Ten Hag can find their form and make them good again, they will be some use next season. That's what I want to say about them. And I think Bruno will be involved next season quite heavily. I think if Rashford can find his form, he'll be used next season. I don't know about Maguire and McTominay. I think they'll be at the club, but I think they're players that I don't know if they'll be regular starters. It depends who we sign. I think if we sign 2 midfielders, we won't see McTominay starting week in, week out. I think if we sign 2 centre-backs, we won't see Maguire starting week in, week out. However, if Maguire finds form, he does have a chance to play as well. Guys, look, I am going to end the live stream here. Sorry, it's not the longest live stream in the world, but I've literally got to go because I've got loads to do today. But what I am going to say is make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and make sure you smash that like. But NUNEZ transfer stories, make sure you subscribe, because if De Jong agrees to join Man United, I will be live. If we sign a player, if we sell a player, if we bid on a player, if there's an agreement, if the talks have taken place, I'll be live. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, make sure you subscribe, because lots is going to happen in the next month. We're working on 4 deals, lots to happen, big rebuild, busiest transfer window in a while, Romano said. So if you want to stay up to date with all of it, make sure you subscribe. If there's any breaking news, I will be back with a video later. As soon as we sign a player, there'll be a video or a live stream to update you guys. So please do subscribe. Sorry I couldn't get through all the live chats. I have loads of live chats. So if you have a question for me that I didn't read out in today's video, if you subscribe with the post notification bell on, just comment it in my next live stream and I'll try and read out your question in my next live stream. Smash a like. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Lots of good people in the chat. I'm talking really, really fast to end the live stream now. But yes, thank you everyone for tuning in. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. Sorry I couldn't get into many live chats. See you next time.